Hi, it's Donnee Patrese, and I'm back with my series, How to Start a Novel. So today we're going to discuss 7 issues that writers face. Now, we want to get started on our novel, but in the midst of writing that novel, we're going to have some trouble. Today we're going to address some of those issues other than just not sitting down and get your butt writing. Because these issues could stop you from doing that. So we're going to start with issue number 7. So issue number 7 is something that you're going to face, and that's not having any ideas, no ideas. One of the hardest issues a writer faces is the lack of ideas. So these are some tips for me on how to, get some ideas flowing, how to come up with some stuff to actually write about. So keep a journal. This is a thought journal. So like when you have those thoughts in the shower, you have those thoughts in the middle of the night, you should get up and write that down. You should keep that journal by your bedside or wherever you sit or wherever you are most of the time or during the day. And keep these ideas right next to you as you write them down, because they may not turn into anything, but they could also turn into your next bestseller. When an idea comes to you, write it down immediately, because I know for me, I'll get ideas and I'll go, okay, I'm gonna write it down. I'll forget to write it down, or I forget totally what I wanted to write down the next day. So I immediately get those ideas on paper, even if it's a Post-it. Sometimes it's a hotel little note things that they keep in the hotel. Sometimes it's those. Read a lot. If you read a lot, it gets your juices flowing, and I can pull out some ideas. I've had some story ideas come from reading different types of novels, not just in my genre, but different types of novels, and figuring out how to fit that into my genre and make a great idea from that. So if you have no ideas, make sure you keep a journal, write down any thoughts that you have immediately, and read a lot. That can get the juices flowing. Okay, so issue number 6. Finding your genre, finding where your writing fits can be difficult. So you may be writing something and go, I have no idea if this even exists, if this is a genre that exists at all. So I would say some ideas for that is to research genres and look for guidelines before you begin. So research different genres that you may be interested in, because I always start with something that I actually like to read. So if I actually like to read this genre, that helps me with number 7 with ideas, and also it helps me to get back into the flow of things. So I would say also, if you pick a genre, research guidelines for that genre. So in my last video last month, I talked about erotic romance and romance in general, and some of the guidelines to write in that genre. I would suggest watching my video on genres, and in that video I mentioned a couple of times that you can create your own genre. Like if what you're writing does not exist or fit neatly into another genre, don't worry about it. Just write and it'll come to you, and you can create your own genre, or you can figure out ways to fit it into another. So like I said, go back and watch my video on genres and how to find your genre, and that should totally help you in that regard. Okay, so issue number 5 that writers face is writer's block. This is the biggest one. So you have an idea, but you're stuck now. You don't know where to take it, where to go from there. So I would say, again, reading helps. It clears the mind. It gets you back into that imaginary world if you write fiction, and it gets you into that creative writing. Even if you write nonfiction, it just gets your juices flowing. Go back to your characters. Now, I did a video on character development and outlining, and a lot of times, and in both of those videos, I talked about that when you're stuck, it could possibly be that your characters don't want to go in that direction. So you want to go back to your characters and basically see if where you're trying to take them is where they actually want to go. That sounds weird, but that is what really typically happens when you have writer's block. I also have a video on writer's block because I've been going crazy with videos. I have a video on writer's blocks and I have 10 tips on how to get rid of it. So watch that video if you have writer's block, because this is a problem that writers face all the time. I would say, like I said, watch that video, go back to that. Issue number 4, characters won't cooperate. And like I said, that leads to writer's block. So characters can be tricky. You can't force them to say what they don't want to say. So I would say go back to character development, reevaluate your outline, make a fictional journal for that character. So I say journal for yourself to get ideas, but also make a fictional journal. When I say fictional journal, or nonfiction if you're writing nonfiction, but pick that character and that person and make a journal for them. What would they say? What would they do? What events are happening in their life and how would they feel about them? And that can get you back into the groove with your character, get you back in sync with your character, and get you writing more. So make sure, and I really push that, making a fictional journal for your characters. So if you are writing for one character and you don't know where to take them, because for me, I write in first person, but I write with multiple different characters. So sometimes I'll get stuck on a chapter because I don't know where that particular character wants to go. So I'll make a mini journal for them. And then that'll get me figuring out, like, wow, this is where, this is what they would say in this situation. And it helps me better to get into that character development. All right, so moving right along, issue number 3. So issue number 3 could be, and I find this a lot with writers, is a lack of productivity. So now you're having trouble being productive. My advice is to make a to-do list and work off that list every day. So I meant to have like an example of my to-do list, but I make a list of at least 3 things I want to accomplish in my writing every single day. So like one day could be, I want to work on chapter 10, and I want to work on chapter 10, and I write longhand. So I actually write things out on paper for everything, even, my ideas. I write it out on paper first. So my chapters, I write them out first and then I type them up. So I might say today I'm working on chapter 10. Tomorrow I'm going to type chapter 10. And the next day I'm going to edit chapter 10. And then on top of that, I'm working on a video for how to start a novel also that day. And I'm editing that video and I'm going through that. So anything that has to do with my writing, I pick 3 things and I make a list and I decide on Monday, these are the 3 things that I'm going to accomplish today towards my writing. And it makes me more productive and it makes things less overwhelming, because when I make a list, a total thing of what I want to do for the month, I get so overwhelmed, I get paralyzed, and then I don't do anything. I don't accomplish very much the first week because I'm just so overwhelmed with the monthly tasks that need to be done. On top of being a mom and taking care of 3 kids and running a household. Like on top of all those things, I have to do, all these things towards my writing. So if I just break it down into these are the 3 things I'm going to do for Monday, and Monday I do those 3 things, I'm being productive and I feel productive. And then that makes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday go by in a breeze. And before the end of the week, I've got so much done. And I would say only 3 things. So only 3 things. Any more than that, you will start to get more overwhelmed. Any less than that, you may not be as productive as you want to be. Okay, so issue number 2 that writers face, building an audience. So you want to build an audience, but that seems difficult and overwhelming. And you don't know how you're going to get all these random people or strangers to read your book, let alone be interested in you. So one of the things that I do is social media of all forms, like be on social media. Like everybody's on social media. Why get on social media? Because everybody's on social media. Also, don't be afraid to do word of mouth through friends, family, writers groups. Be a part of all kind of conferences. Like I said, join a writers group and learn about their conferences, learn about all the events that they have going on. Be a part of it, be present. That's how you're going to build an audience. So you're going to market yourself. So when you're on social media, you think, what do I do while I'm on social media? So one of the things that I would suggest is just being yourself. Talk about your writing experiences, what you're doing currently. Post pictures on Instagram of places that you're going, things that, especially if you're doing traveling, if you're a travel writer, like that's going to be your bread and butter. You want to post those pictures. This is where I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm working on. So just be present in the moment and let your readers know what you're doing. That's how you're going to build an audience. Is you're going to basically just be present, be yourself, say what you're doing currently, market yourself. And that's how you're going to build an audience. So I know that's something that writers face, is one of the issues that writers face. But as you're writing, you want to make sure that you get yourself out there before you even publish a book. You want people to know about you before they actually pick up your novel. So, and I've spoke on this quite often, and I've actually done some talks about it. And I have a self-publishing system that actually goes deeper into the marketing scheme of building your audience. So basically, I would suggest, like I said, social media of all forms, word of mouth, get yourself out there, do book signings when you have your novel completed and you have it published. But before then, you want to do so much before you even get to that step. Because like I said, this year we're going to get published, right? We're going to publish something this year. And that doesn't necessarily have to be a novel, but hopefully it will be your novel you've been working on since last year. So issue number one that writers face, and I know this one is a huge issue: no confidence. If you don't have confidence in your writing, no one will. No one will have confidence. And all the other 6 problems will plague you. They will become even bigger if you do not have any kind of confidence whatsoever. So, how do we build confidence as a writer? Ignore negative thoughts. So ignore those thoughts that you have in your head that tells you that you're not good enough, that you're not strong enough of a writer, you don't know what you're doing. Ignore those negative thoughts, okay? Write with abandon and don't worry about editing. Just write, get it done. I know sometimes, writers tend to think that you have to write a chapter, edit that chapter, write a chapter, edit that chapter. So when I write, and then I may once go through that chapter, and then I'm moving on because I'm going to edit this book a lot before it actually goes to a publisher or before it even goes to an editor. Like, I'm going to edit it over and over and over again before it even goes to an editor, who then it will go to a publisher. Like, so just write right now. That's what you should focus on, is just writing. So everyone has a weakness in writing, so you're not alone. I can personally say that I have 2 big issues. I repeat a lot of words. When I'm trying to write past tense, I will sometimes skip to the present, and I do that a lot. So, and there are other issues that I have to work on when I get to the editing phase. So I would just say that if you have a weakness, it's something that you do a lot, don't worry about it. You're not alone. Almost all writers, no one's perfect. All writers have a weakness. And your job right now is to not worry about that. You worry about that in the editing phase. Okay, so putting your writing out there can be scary, but it will always be worth it. So make sure that you share your art with the world. Share what you have created with the world. I know that as you write, your fear is no one's going to like this. No one's going to appreciate this the way that I do. Don't worry about that. It's going to be scary. It's going to be difficult. Trust me. I've done it. And I've gotten the bad reviews and I've gotten the good reviews. But it's always worth it to put yourself on the line like that and to put yourself out there, because you're going to encourage other writers to do the same. When you put yourself out there, you're going to always encourage other writers to put themselves out there. And the more art that we have out there, the more that we have for other people to enjoy, the better. And like I said, someone's going to enjoy your work. So always remember that. Have confidence in what you write. Have confidence in yourself as a writer. Okay, so that is my 7 issues that writers face and how to deal with those issues. So for 2019, my motto is have confidence, ignore those negative thoughts. And that's one of the reasons why I made it number one, because that is a huge deal for writers, is to not have that confidence, especially since writing is such an isolating job to do. And you are just alone with your thoughts a lot. And those negative thoughts will creep in, but you got to get rid of those. You have to. So make sure you subscribe and make sure you follow the series, How to Start a Novel, because as a writer, this will truly, truly help you get started and to keep going and to keep moving. Because like I said, one of the issues that we face is productivity. And when you have someone basically telling you or giving you advice on how to keep moving, that helps you be more productive. So make sure you follow the series. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when new videos are posted. Also, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I'll be there as Donnee Patrese. And you can find me on Amazon.com and check out my books. See what I'm doing. And like I said, right now, I'm currently working on a novel and editing a novel at the same time. So, why am I doing that to myself? So check me out, and I will see you on the next video on how to start a novel. Bye.